Hello, everyone. I'm Tralisha Strambler. I'm here at Centerville Elementary. I teach fourth grade, and I'm here to talk to you about differentiation that works with Readworks.
Hello, everyone.
Oh,
I'm
with
Tralisha
me.
Strambler. I'm here at Centerville Elementary. I teach fourth grade.
Okay, so first I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I have been an educator for Garland ISD for 11 years. I started in third grade. I taught third grade for 2 years, and I have spent the last 9 years teaching fourth grade. One of the biggest struggles that I have had in the classroom is being able to differentiate reading passages with my students so that everyone feels connected and together and all on the same page. I stumbled across Readworks about 2 years ago, and for the past 2 years, I have been using Readworks in the classroom with my reading groups, and it has helped out tremendously, especially with my ELL learners. Moderating with us tonight is Katrina Wright. She teaches at Toller Elementary. So let's get started. Okay, so here I went to readworks.org, and you can find this easily online if you go through Google. The first thing you're going to want to do is create an educator account. You'll just click on I'm an educator, and you'll create your email and password. Okay, so this is the home page, and there are a lot of fun things on here. So Readworks is essentially a place that houses tons and tons of information. It's curated nonfiction and literary articles. It has reading comprehension, vocabulary lessons, formative assessments, and teacher guidance all in one place. Navigating the homepage can be a little overwhelming at first. So what you'll want to do is just take some time, browse around, click buttons, and just figure out what exactly is available for you. And there's tons of variety. Okay, if you are looking at it from across the top, you're going to see that it has all topics, social studies, science, literary, skills and strategies, and special collections. I usually keep it at all topics unless I am looking for something in particular. For instance, if I really need a science article to relate to whatever we are talking about in science, I'll go directly to science articles. But once you've picked what you're looking for, the next thing you're going to want to do is start making or narrating your search. So comes up with a whole bunch of sample stories, and notice that it tells you if it's kindergarten, it tells you articles, it ranges the lexile numbers if it's informational text, and this is definitely going to be helpful to you. So since I'm in fourth grade, I'm going to click on fourth grade. And it just automatically comes up with different articles that I can use. Narrative fiction, we definitely have to talk about that in fourth grade. I also like the Carlsbad Caverns one when we start talking about caves and science. You'll find that if you know your student's lexile number, that is very good for your guided reading groups. You can type in the lexile number for that group, and you can find specific articles just for those students within that lexile range. Next, you'll want to also choose what kind of product are you looking for. Are you wanting an article? Are you wanting paired passages, which is a must-have for anyone grades 4 and up, because fourth grade we start testing them over comparing and contrasting two articles at the same time. And their paired passages are actually pretty good. They'll have a mixture between some fiction and definitely informational text, so they can find what the articles have in common. You also have text type. for informational and literary. I think we've been in a nonfiction unit for a little while, so we definitely pull a lot of articles from informational text. You're also going to notice where it says regular articles, starts to search, you have an option of having a human voice, the audio for a human voice. And it doesn't sound very computerized at all. It is definitely a person reading it, and it's really good for your students that have to have oral administration, or students who like for the stories to be read aloud to them as well. It's a great differentiation tool that you can use with your students. If you want the whole class to listen to that one article, this is also an option too, to have that only have articles that can be read aloud so that you can play it for everyone. I've also had a teacher use this readworks.org in a workstation during balanced literacy time. And so she assigns the articles that have the human voice audio so that all students should be able to read and get through the passage during their workstation time. Well, let's talk about this differentiation tool, which is Steps Read, because this is the one I really like. So if I wanted to search a particular article, I'm going to pull this one up because I know what it has. Okay, so this article that I'm looking at is The Meadowlands. As you can see, it is an article that can be read aloud, has your real photograph so they know it's going to have some nonfiction text features. But you have some choices at the top, and that's what I really like to see, are those choices at the top. It has Steps Read, and Steps Read basically is going to allow you to print an article that looks exactly like the original article, only it's been moved down to a different lexile number for your students. So if I'm looking at this one, I'm going to clear this filter. And I did just grade 4 and articles. Here it is here. Yeah. So as I go to the Steps Read, I just wanted you to see. So right here we have, when they described the swamp at the end of the Schwaler Avenue, the adults in Sarah's life seemed confused. On the Steps Read, this is at a different lexile. This first one, Step Read 1, is instead of being at the original lexile of 830L, this one's at a 650L, has a little bit less words. And as you can see, the adults in Sarah's life seemed confused by the swamp at the end of her street. So they have taken out from the original article the Schwaler Avenue, and I've just replaced it to the end of the street. It's the same idea, just with a little bit more clarity for students who are reading at a lower level or comprehending at a lower level. And that's Steps Read 1. If you go down to Steps Read 2, it brings it down to an even lower lexile number. This one is actually only a 500L. And it has even less words. It's down to 659 words. Sarah's dad told her to stay away from the swamps at the end of her street. We're at the beginning of this one. When they described the swamp at the end of Schwaler Avenue, the adults in Sarah's life seemed confused. Whenever she asked about it, Sarah's dad would chuckle. "You'd better stay away from the Meadowlands," her father said. So all of the students are reading the same or similar passage, same concepts. You can teach the exact same skill, but you are reading it with words that they can understand and comprehend. And that is definitely differentiation at its finest, so that everyone is getting the same skill, just at the level that fits their needs. So next, I would like to show you the vocabulary that goes with this. Each story comes with some vocabulary. In this case, this one comes with recover, swamp, and wetland. Those are the focused vocabulary words. You have an option printing out this for them, gives them the definition, so you can use it to create your Freyer models, things like that. It goes into some details. They also come with a Spanish cognate to go with it. That'll also help some of your ELL learners too. There are also examples of how the word or forms of the word are used in a sentence. And I really like that it says the forms of the word, because sometimes words don't actually have to be just in its basic form. It'll have different prefixes or suffixes added on to the end, or it changes the tense. And that really helps students see that it's the same root word, just with a prefix or a suffix. And if you notice, there are little sound buttons, so the sentences will be read aloud to them here as well. So next, I want us to look at the question sets. So here we do have some questions, and some of them will go with vocabulary questions, but there are just comprehension questions that you can assign. We have some level 1 questions all the way up. We also have some open-ended responses, and that's probably one of the best things that I love about Readworks is you can get that quick grade if you need to with the multiple choice, but I love that it has 2 to 3 written response questions as well. That shows if the student is really learning what they are supposed to learn from this. And I love these inferencing questions. And why does Sarah start to cry in the Meadowlands? Because it doesn't specifically say the reason why she's crying. So they have to use their inferencing skills to answer this question and have to write it out. And once again, if you're doing this online, those questions can be read aloud to your student. So if they receive oral administration, this is definitely something that you can use, because it is the oral administration without you actually having to read it to them. So they're getting their specific IEP needs. Okay, so I'm going to take you back to the beginning. You have this one that says your starter ELL, and this just says think about using these sets with your whole class at the start of the year if you teach any ELLs, because these sets cover concrete topics as well as topics that may be familiar to some ELLs. So these articles are going to be a lot more familiar. I'll click on that for you. They're going to be a lot more concrete. It's not as abstract. Clouds, rain, animals from different places. I mean, it's just very basic, and it's things that they can actually make a connection to, and it'll be more meaningful for them. So I like using these as well. I wanted to show you the paired text selections. Oh, and this is a really cute one, the chicken and the egg. I did that one before. But I love this one. I'm going to do 4th grade again. I need to make sure I keep clicking that. So 4th grade selections. And if you notice, you're going to get a couple of 5th grade ones on here as well, because what really designates 4th and 5th grade, it's really the lexile. And yes, you're definitely going to have some students who are at the top end of your 4th grade class, and so they're reading 5th grade and 6th grade level, so it's quite all right. So these two kind of go together. It's animal reproduction and development. So they're trying to figure out the similarities and differences between mother cats and kittens versus the chicken and the egg. This one is also read aloud as well. It is not a steps read one. If it was, it would have that as an option at the top. So you have your whole article here, can be read aloud to them. You would print off your second one, unless you're doing this online. Has the article there. And then you just go to your question set, and you can print off your question sets. This one has a mixture. We have lots of written response, and this one is only written response, is what I'm noticing from this. So this is a really good open-ended. You still have your sound tab so that that can be read aloud to your students. And it tells you, use the article, mother cats and their kittens to answer questions 1 and 2. Use the chicken and the egg for 3 and 4. And then explain how the main ideas are similar. How are they different? I mean, it's pretty basic, and it's getting them practicing looking at 2 stories at the same time. The stories are not incredibly long. They're really, when you print it out, it's just about a page, maybe a page and a half with this kind of font. So it's really, really helpful. So you might have noticed this little assign button hanging out up here. And so if you want to assign it, you would first have to create a class. I have my class right here. It's Strambler class. And then you have your articles. If you want the audio turned on, you have to click that button so to make sure they can hear it. If you do not want the articles, the audio turned on, you would uncheck that. As far as can some get it and some students not get it, what you would do is assign it separately to specific students. So if I want to first assign the audio version to specific students, the only ones who get oral administration, I would create this assignment for them first. Then I go back in, click it again, and then this time uncheck the audio button and then assign it to the rest of the students in my class. You assign the start date and the due date. And it does let you know students will be able to continue working on article and paired text assignments after the due date passes. And it just shows up from your point of view. It'll just show up as this article was turned in late. They don't get anything deducted. I really like this because when they do turn in their assignment, it's already graded for you, except for the written response, which you will have to look at that yourself. But if you're looking for that concrete grade, as soon as they turn it in, it tells you the score that they made, what questions they missed. It's really, really awesome that it does all of that for you. So all you have to do is go through your grade book and get those answers, the grades written down. And then you can go back through and check those written responses and add extra points for those correct written responses as well. It also can guide what things you need to talk about in your guided reading groups, so that if you have your certain group that everyone is missing the written responses, those are the ones we desperately need to talk about because they should be able to answer the questions even if those answer choices aren't available. This tab over here that says My List, if it's something that you like and you want to save it for years to come and you want to flag it, all you have to do is click on that My List and it's added to your list. So here it is. So now I don't have to keep searching for that article that I really liked 2 years ago and I used it during science at this time, during life science. Now you have it on your list and you can always refer back to it and you can quickly assign it again to your new class. At the top where it says assignments in progress, because this is, I can't use my real students, but because of that, you would go here to check your student progress. All of their articles, tests that they've taken or anything will be listed over here. If you need to check comprehension questions, this is where you'll find your answers. If you had your kids doing vocabulary activities or if they have answers to paired text questions, all of this would be here. Tells you how many are correct and graded. It says this includes results for all multiple choice and any graded written response questions. You get to go through and add to the grade. You get to check if it's correct and check if it's incorrect. And it will change the grade for you so they can see if they've got that answer right or wrong. I really like that too. And then it gives the final grade. It's pretty simple. Current assignments, future assignments, past assignments. So you can go through at any point and pull up that for parents if you need to show them, because it's all going to be stored on the computer. So how do the students get to their assignments? So back at the beginning, I clicked on the button that said, I'm an educator. Well, now when the students log in, they click, I'm a student. And it says, students should sign in with their Google account. We didn't use this whatsoever. We just had the students enter their class code. And when the students entered their class code, it took them right to mine because it's particular to my classroom. So as soon as they did that, it had a list of names pop up on the screen, and then the students chose their name, and then they got into their assignment, and it has the assignment that's due waiting for them on their home screen as soon as they get there. Okay, I'm going to just take us back to the home page. I'm going to just stay silent for a moment to allow for any questions that you may have, or just so that you can navigate and browse at your own time. I'll be browsing through as well. Okay, if there aren't any questions, the last thing I just want to show you is that I clicked on this little bottom button down here where it says lessons and units. And basically this is going to take you to some teacher lessons that you could use. If you are a struggling teacher that needs a little more help with skill and strategy units, this is what used to be on Readworks until they revamped it. So you would go through and you would pick a certain concept, and it gives you a passage. It gives you, like, if I needed cause and effect, it would give me certain things that I can, and stories that I can use that specifically teach cause and effect, and they use a book to go with it. Some of them are just expository text. It gives you different examples. It gives you the materials, everything that you need to teach the whole lesson. It's all here for you. This definitely is not a website that you just pull up on the first day and say, okay, let me just find something really, really quick. It's not something you do for that. You have to plan this out. Take several days to just go through and find articles that you really like and that you can use. They're great to use when you're doing that star review time and you're needing little passages for them to work on these skills with. It's a great tool to use for that. But it's just another thing that you just go through and look through. If you need it to be aligned, it's automatically set to Common Core. Just find it under Texas, pick your grade level. It has our TEKS listed as well. So there you go. So you can use it in your lesson plans. It's calibrated. It is aligned to your TEKS, so you don't have to worry about it not being aligned. So as you can see as well, even in SchoolNet, they use Readworks as a resource for you that you can use. They have it on there. They don't go into any details, but that's why we have this video to help you guys learn a little bit more about readworks.org. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this mini lesson on how to navigate Readworks and what it's all about. I'm going to go back to the home page. And this is what you're going to look for. If you like this, try it out, create an account, and get started with your classroom. Thank you guys for watching.